I want to lift up the nursing division executive board members that are on here today, our executive board members that are on, Kathy and Jen and others that are here today, and Jake that are participating. It's great to be with you. I always get thrown in at the end of these sessions. I don't know why, I usually like to come in on the front end and get everybody excited, but I've got a message for RPN. So hopefully you don't mind me taking a little bit of your time to share what's been on my mind today. Is that all right? Can you give me a thumbs up if you're okay with that? All right. So I've come from a family of healthcare workers. Two of my aunts were registered practical nurses for about 30 years. My current aunt, who's still a PSW in home care, she's been doing that for about 30 years. My mom, when she migrated from Jamaica to Canada, was a PSW for a short period of time. And so I come from a healthcare family. And one thing I want to say on the front end is I have the utmost respect for RPNs and the work that you do. And I know the challenges that you're facing aren't new challenges. I know the issues you're facing aren't new issues. I remember going to my aunt's house when I was a young kid in Toronto, hearing her talk about and complain about all of the issues that she faced as an RPN in the nursing home that she worked. So I know they're not new. Secondly, I want to just lift up the fact that there's this feeling that I get when I speak with RPNs. And I'm just going to say it. There's something about RPNs that is untapped, if you will. There's something about RPNs when I speak with RPNs, and I had a chance to speak with two RPNs over the weekend when I was in Niagara. So I just want to lift up Kathy and Lori, if you're still with us. Shout out for taking the time to chat with me briefly while I was in Niagara. But there's something in the eyes of the RPNs that I want to hone in on here. And it's really centered around my question for you today. Because here's the deal. You've been stimulated in a way, you've been energized, you've been equipped with some education and knowledge on the inequities that you face as women. You've been equipped with knowledge on the racial inequities that are being faced in our healthcare system, your vision stories that you've shared with each other that will hopefully bring us together as one unit. I think the message here that I see in the nursing division logo is one goal, one team, one vision, right? And I think what you've done today is reflective of that. And so I want to play off of that for a moment. Here's what I've heard from many of you RPNs. And correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm offline, if I'm in left field, just let me know. Left field mean that way, left field, yeah. You love your profession. You love being an RPN. Hands up if that's right. You love being an RPN. When I ask RPNs, why did you get into the profession? Many of you have said, because you wanted to make an impact. You wanted to make a difference. You wanted to help. And that's been common amongst all of the RPNs that I've spoken with over the years. Secondly, you're frustrated. You're tired. You're angry. You're upset, right? You're thinking about the classifications that are getting more respect and more recognition than you. RNs on the high pay scale, they're still getting more. They're being treated very differently than RPNs, even though you're working to 90, 95% of the scope of an RN. Is that right? Am I in the right ballpark here? Right? You've got PSWs creeping up now with these recent announcements with the government pulled out, where PSWs are $1, $2 right behind an RPN. And so you're stuck in this middle ground, right? Where when people say nurses, what do they think about? Typically, the general public, what do they think about? They think about a registered nurse, right? Am I wrong in that? Right? It's very rare that when I talk with folks and I say, oh, the RPNs are like, what is an RPN? Right? And so I think what you're doing today and what you've done today hopefully will propel you into really amplifying your story as RPNs, because that's what's needed. People need to know who RPNs are. And so I think the start today was a great start in getting that message out there. Here's what else I think I know. I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong again, that you want change. You want to be recognized. You want to be appreciated. You want to be valued. You want to be respected for the work that you do. Is that right? Am I on the right track here? You felt unappreciated for too long. I know when my aunt when I was growing up, she complained a lot. She was one of those, come home and complain. Weekends, she was complaining about her role as an RPN. And so that's what I know. Here's the question. Here's the fundamental question that I'm going to ask you today. And I'm going to center my message here with you on this. How ready are you? Really and truly, how ready are you? How ready are you to move? Right? How ready are you? There's a collective here that you're all experiencing the same issues, right? So we've got that out of the way. We've level set everybody. Everybody's experiencing the same frustrations, the same pain points. But how ready are you? Here's what I want to start with. The fact that you came on this summit today, some of you came on your own time, some of you are on LOA, some of you were probably forced to be here. But the fact that you took the time and you decided, enough was enough. I'm going to go and research. I'm going to go and get myself involved. I'm going to go and figure this thing out as an RPN. That is the first step. And when I ask if you're ready, my experience as an organizer, I've been an organizer for a very long time. I've helped many campaigns. I've helped many members and people in the community succeed at campaigns that we thought were never going to succeed. But it starts with the fundamental question, are you ready to move? Because you've got a lot of emotions right now. You've got a lot of emotions. Am I right? There's a lot of emotions brewing right now in the RPN classification. But the question is, how do we create motion with that emotion? Make sense? How are we going to create motion with that emotion? And that's what I want to talk to you about here. So bear with me. You guys still have the whiteboards that Riley gave you? Can you just bring those whiteboards out for a moment? I'm just going to do a quick exercise to walk you through what ready means. Okay, so bring out the whiteboards, bring out the markers. If you don't have a whiteboard, if you got a piece of paper, bring it out. So in my experience, and this is my theory here, okay, based on my observations, there's 5 levels of being ready to move. Okay, 5 levels. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to put the number 5 in the middle of the whiteboard. Just draw the number 5 in the middle of the whiteboard. Put number 5 there. All right. To the left, top left corner, I want you to draw number 1. Just put number 1 there. Circle the number 5. Okay. Circle number 5. To the top right corner, put number 2. To the bottom left corner, number 3. And to the bottom right corner, number 4. Okay. So you've got 5 on your whiteboard. So the 5 levels of being ready, what does that mean? So here's level 1, and this is where I want you to identify yourself. This is an honest exercise. There's no judgment. It's not about being right or wrong or perfect or whatnot. It's where you're at, okay? Number 1, if you're an RPN that, like my aunt was the number 1 RPN, level 1 RPN. She would go to work. She loved her profession. She loved her coworkers. She would go to work. She would do her work. When she got home, complain moment. Like she was complaining all the time, right? She didn't stop. The weekends at the barbecues we used to have, complaints. I used to hear her with my other ad talking about nursing issues. So that was number 1. That's number 1. She just complained. Maybe you talk to a spouse. Maybe you're talking to your kids. Maybe you're talking to yourself, but you're just complaining. That's it. That's level 1. Okay, you're with me so far? All right. Level 2 is you're frustrated, you're complaining, but now you're complaining with a coworker. Now you and a coworker now, whether a fellow RPN or not, but you're and a coworker are now complaining about the issues and you're starting to talk to each other about these issues that you're experiencing as a collective. So you got 2 people involved in the equation here, right? That's it. You're just complaining at this moment. So level 1, you're complaining by yourself or with a spouse or somebody that has nothing to do with work. Level 2, now you're engaging with somebody else at your workplace. So 2 levels so far. Level 3, you're past the complaint stage, and now you've got a larger group of RPNs or other folks that are now beginning to wonder, okay, we've all complained about this thing. or things, what can we do? And the question starts to loom like, okay, is there something we could do? Where can we go to start to begin to create change for ourselves? But that's it. You're just wondering at this point. You don't know what to do. You want to do something, but you don't know what to do yet. Okay, so that's level 3. You with me? Cool. Number 4, level 4 is you're beyond the complaint stage. You got a group of members, workers, RPNs that now are beginning to get yourself involved. Maybe you're attending a general membership meeting for the first time because you've always ignored those emails. Maybe you're participating in a rally. Maybe you participated in the Leadership Academy at some point, but you're starting to get yourself involved in your union and in the advocacy for your profession. Level 4, all right? So that's level 4. You began to do some work and you've got some people that are with you that are beginning to do some work, okay? Level 5, this is where the difference really becomes. Level 5 is you're consistently active, you're in the union, you're working, you're figuring it out, you're going into meetings, you're getting the notes, you're communicating with your fellow RPNs, you're sharing information, you're recruiting maybe some of the younger RPNs that just recently were hired to get themselves involved, but you're active, you're in it, you are committed, and you've put in the time, even though you know you're working 12 hours, 14 hours, you're finding the time to make a difference. Okay, so those levels make sense to folks? Okay, so that's my 5 level of being ready. Okay, so what I want you to do now is look at that and take a moment and really assess where are you in the pyramid of the 5 there. Which one are you? Just circle it. Okay, so I'll give you a moment. Maybe just hold up. Let me just see folks hold it up. Let me see where folks are at. I got like 4 RPNs here in front of me. So let me see where you are at. Where are you at, Gita? I see Gita there. What is that? Okay. All right. I see Tina Milani. I see her there. Carla, you're on my screen here. Where are you at, Carla? Let me see. Okay, Tina's at a 4. Okay, great. Thank you, Carla. So the exercise that you really have to think about here, and the question you have to ask yourself, because here's what I know happens. I've been to, and yes, you can put it in the chat as well. I've been to many rallies and conventions and conferences. And what happens here is you get fired up, right? How many of you feel fired up and you feel hopeful and you're like, all right, I feel good about what I'm doing today. What happens tomorrow? You're going to go into the hospital. You're going to get bombarded, right? You're going to get bombarded because all of it's going to come out at you. And so the key thing here is to remember where you're at and where you want to be, because here's what I believe, and I truly believe this. I believe if we can figure out a way as a collective, and this is not just on you, this is up to Charlene, myself, Mina, and Jackie as the officers of the union to work with the RPNs to figure out a way to get more RPNs in that 4 and 5 part of the equation. Does that make sense? We all need to do that. And we all need to do that in our own ways, right? In our own time. You're busy, you got kids, you got families, yes. But if you're really, really ready, this is the moment. Use this as an excuse to propel you into the action that you know you want to take, you know you need to take, and you know you have to take as RPNs. This is the moment. Use this summit as the excuse to do that. And what Jackie's going to talk to you about is ways in which you can do that immediately. And so I wanted to share that because I believe that RPNs, you are natural leaders. You are natural leaders that has just been untapped. We've heard so much from the PSWs. You hear the RNs screaming that they want more. The time for RPNs is now. And it starts with you, right? It really does start with you. And you have a moment here. Whether or not you take advantage is up to you. We will provide you with the tools, but that's all they are tools. Okay? So that's my message to you today, is just figure out how, if you're at 3, if you're at 2, if you're at 4 or 5, great. Continue to be a 4 or 5, right? Don't give up. We have an opportunity here. You're going into bargaining. It's not going to be pretty. It is not going to be pretty. Some of you are on the committee. I'm so glad that there's some new folks on the committee, because you're going to see firsthand how the employers and the government look at you as RPNs. And that's why your stories are so important, because they need to hear it. They need to hear it over and over. My last point here is this. Advocating for your profession is not a one-time event. It's not that we're going to go and bargain and all the problems are going to get solved, right? And so the 4s and 5s, that's where you want to stay. Because if you make it an event, you will never make change for the RPNs. It'll be very, very difficult. And I believe because you're here today, you want to make change. So thank you very much for indulging me. I wanted to share that. I'm hopeful. I know we can do it. I've seen it work before. And I believe that the RPNs have a moment that we need to take advantage of. Thank you very much. So I'll pass it over to Jackie to close us off. Thank you very much for your time.